Hey friends, Happy New Year. It's 2021, and if I was being honest with you, not much feels different than 2020. I would venture to say maybe not a whole lot is going to be different. We didn't know what we were doing in 2020, and I don't think we're going to know what we're doing in 2021 either. And I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking about what 2020 looked like. How 2020 was this year of experiences that we had never experienced and things that we had never done before. I think about, most specifically teachers. Teachers had they were just starting to get into e-learning, but we had teachers who were having to learn to do total virtual teaching. We had teachers who were trying to balance e-learning, virtual learning, in-person learning, and also balance their own families. Our teachers didn't know what they were doing because they had never done it before. And the cafeteria workers were packing up lunches for children to take home, for children to be able to pick up at certain sites and figuring out how to distribute that. Cafeteria workers had never done that before. And I think about our healthcare system. In, recent history, we've never dealt with a pandemic like this. There's not really anybody that's still alive that necessarily has been through a pandemic of this measure. We've never lived through it. And so our healthcare workers were doing things they had never had to do before, working entire shifts, garbed in masks and face shields and gowns and gloves through their entire shift, and navigating what it was like to not have families at the bedside and have to call people for updates. Now treating this virus, as a healthcare system as a whole, treating this virus and now vaccinating for this virus, we've never had to do any of this before. I think of parents who, they had to quit their jobs to be able to stay home with their kids for virtual learning. Companies that had to shut down for, days, weeks, months, maybe even permanently shut down, lay off employees. They didn't know what they were doing. Restaurants that were trying to survive on basically doing takeout only, they didn't know what they were doing. And when they opened back up, trying to figure out what's safe, how do we keep our customers safe and still acknowledge what's going on while still trying to make money, keep the business afloat, and pay their employees. Small business owners, they had to shut down. They may or may not have had the reserves to reopen their business. And when they did reopen, it's trying to navigate having a small staff. Maybe somebody got exposed, and what do we do with our shop now? And what does cleaning have to look like on a regular basis? We are all doing things this year that we have never done before. People are laying in hospitals, dying by themselves. Families are trying to figure out socially conscious, socially distant funerals, which is absolutely heartbreaking. I even think of my own family this year. We had to have our dog put down in the tailgate of our SUV because that's the only way that we could all be with her. Who would have ever thought we would be at a place where we were having our dogs put down in our cars so that they wouldn't have to be alone during that process? People who had weddings planned were trying to figure out how they safely celebrated their love. We are all in the middle of things we've never done before. Pastors trying to figure out shutdowns for their churches. How do you keep members engaged? How do you still shepherd them well while figuring out how do we go live on Facebook, on YouTube? How do we have virtual services while still staying connected and spurring one another on? So many things that we have done this year that we have never done before. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't really know how to handle it. Wearing masks on a daily basis to be able to leave our homes. And can I tell you, in the middle of all of the unknown, what we really need is grace and kindness. I've seen people be so ugly in the middle of all of these unknowns and so ungracious. But realistically, we are all navigating things we've never navigated before. And can we just show each other a little bit of grace in the middle of all of that?